got cut off. That got cut off a little bit. So video number 2. So I think a number of people that were wanting to get Dr. Cosby in this Me Too Times Up mania that was occurring, they wanted to have another matter of saying, don't get too cocky, African American man, because you'll get it again. And I believe what happened in around the time of late February 24th, February 25th, 2018 was the doctors and the medical technicians over at whatever hospital Enza was a patient at basically didn't even give her the treatments that they needed, and a lot of other different matters of medical malpractice occurred, in which case she died basically off of medical negligence. And that's something nobody wants to talk about. When I read of Enza's death, my heart sank. Because for Bill and Camille Cosby, this was their second child of 5 children dying. And the second thing being, to lose 2 children, they're never gonna recover from this. It's just gonna be a shitstorm from here on out. I was right. I think what occurred in the trial again was something that I believe was was something that people said one thing had occurred, but really another thing had occurred. For one thing, you'll notice there was no cameras in the courtroom. So if there were no cameras in the courtroom, anything could have come out. Here's what I think did come out. At certain points in the trial, the DA's office, led by Kevin Steele, the judge's office is led by Judge Stephen O'Neill, among others. I think they made the case to have it be not about the woman or about what have you, but about Ennis and Enza. I think at certain points they had to be like, say Janice Dickinson went to the stand. They would say, "Did you know Ennis Cosby? Did you know Enza Cosby? Why do you think they died?" I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And I'm pretty sure at some point, towards the end, maybe around late March, early April, around or mid-April or so, Bill had a complete breakdown in court. I think that's what happened. I think he had a total meltdown. You know, there was a report on Radar Online that was saying this last summer he was talking to Ennis as if he was still alive, and giving him gifts as if Ennis was still alive. And that's devastating, man. It's a complete psychological mind loss, really. So I think what occurred was he had a breakdown, and I think not so much Tom Mesereau, but I think Andrew Wyatt began a process of cutting a deal with the DA's office, with Gloria Allred, among others, basically having him play both sides of the fence, which is effectively, they'd find him guilty. They would have the jury come out with a verdict of guilty, even though he pretty much wasn't guilty of the actual crimes committed, of the specifics. There may have been other crimes that other incidences which may have occurred, but not in this one specific. And I think they had it be like, well, we're going to find him guilty. That means we can legally send him to, not a prison. They say it's a prison, a maximum security prison, but it's really a maximum security psychiatric ward. I guess he got into a prison initially last September in the context of some saying, well, you were homophobic, so now let's see you drop the soap and experience a gay sex. I think that's what they were doing. That was the case. Well, that was the case. But I believe for a long time, for last year, Bill and Camille and Erica and Aaron and Enrica, Cosby, other Cosby children, they've had a complete breakdown. There's also a sense that they don't think, that they may be thinking to themselves that Enza is still alive. And if that's the case, then really all bets are off, really. Now, so this is what seems to be occurring. I believe, see, in all the statements that Andrew Wyatt has been talking about over the last year or so, saying, well, Bill Cosby is this one thing or whatever, or he's not in general population, yes he is, or he's not with this thing, yes he is. You know, he's lying, he's exaggerating, and he's lying in many respects. He's not really a guy you could be trusted necessarily. But what it is, what's happening right now is, I think there's a legal precedent that people have in which, if you are committed to a psychiatric ward, if you're committed to a mental institution for the insane, if you're committed, that's the easiest and safest and most legal way to confiscate money. Because they'll say to themselves that the money that you owed cannot be trusted under your hands. Someone that doesn't have a psychological breakdown and be convicted of a crime, yeah, they don't go after the money. But they will if you do have a psychological breakdown. If they have it be to any extent that they even instigate the psychological breakdown, which they have done. These bastards have done to the Cosbys. They've done it to them. So since his committal to the psychiatric ward, which they are saying to him, no, it's a dormitory, what have you, or, you know, you'll be fine, you're going to be in general population, whatever, blah, 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 Oh, here's some photos of some women, you know, celebrities that you like. They're feeding his problems. None of the Cosbys are effectively there in the head at the moment. And that's not for me to laugh at. It's not laughable. It's not a laughing matter. It's a pretty sad matter when you think about it. It is sad. Would you want that happening to your parents? Or people that you know about if they lost 2 children over the years? Yeah, that's the problem. I've said this so many times. If Ennis were alive, none of this shit would have happened. If Enza were alive, the stuff that's been going on the last year wouldn't have happened. With those 2 kids dead, it has just devastated them, and people know the truth. When they really think about it, they know deep down that you could release the guy from the mental hospital. You could release Dr. Cosby from the mental hospital, but he's not going to be what he was. He's going to be 82 next month. If he's still around, really. I don't know. You know, it's... everything is just kind of in not in the greatest spot. And they broke him. They broke him totally. I saw it coming a mile away when Enza died. I kind of saw it coming a mile away when Ennis died. No parent should have to outlive their own child. Because there will always be that sense, particularly if you're a celebrity, of, well, you outlive your child. You can't make another child. What did you do to have your child die? Even if it was nothing. But you see, that's how they get you. That's how they get people like that. I was reading a tweet from Stacey Brown over at New York Amsterdam News and Stacey Brown Media. I was saying that on August 12th, there's going to be the beginning of oral arguments for a hearing of an appeal on Dr. Cosby's conviction, what have you. And the idea is that if all goes well, and probably all may go well, it'll either be released, or the conviction will be quashed, or they'll get another trial. They won't get another trial. It'll be 3 times. And I don't want to do all that shit again. I really think, though, it's going to be this way. I think it's going to be it's going to be like an idea of, well, he's 81, about to be 82. What should we do now? He's totally broken. Is the smartest thing just to kind of euthanize him, put him out of his misery, and then kind of just have Camille and the remaining Cosby children live off, as with a stipend? Because I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think he's going to survive the remainder of this year. In fact, I would probably go out as far as to say that I think all of his assets of importance, including his most notable entertainment assets of what he ran and owned with the Cosby, or had co-ownership with the Cosby Show and A Different World and among other stuff in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, I think that ownership has been transferred over. Might have been transferred over to the Walt Disney Company. In fact, I could probably say, with Disney now in control of all matters of Hulu, that Comcast, which basically had a lot of Cosby interests and ownership interests by 2014, 2015, they probably have just excised out their interests once and for all. So now Cosby doesn't really have much money and anything to go to at this point, at least nothing that he owns. And Disney now owns the stuff, and basically it's like this could probably now bring back by the end of the year the Cosby Show and A Different World on Hulu, or Disney Plus for that matter. It's very likely. Disney Plus doesn't. By the way, Disney Plus doesn't go live until November 12th. So they thinking this time. I think that's what's going to happen. I think. Guys, don't be surprised if that happens, because I think that is what's going to happen. Would I like to see it happen that way? No, not really. But what can you do? So that's really where all these roads on the Cosby issue lead to. They all lead to his children dying, and possibly, in all likelihood, the confusion and lack of full total acceptance, at least in the part of Ennis, of him being, I think, LGBTQ. Once those issues are talked about, then people can understand. But I think media and other people that have been chastising Cosby for years, for decades even, well before all this has started, they want to have him out of the picture and out of life, which may very well happen, to present the narrative and the idea of, Ennis was gay. We can kind of understand what happened in all these matters, and why all this stuff went the way it did, and since Ennis's death and Enz's death, they realized whether there was wrong. But the thing is that with certain people, as I said in this Me Too culture, what have you, you can bring them back because one, they have their children, they have their facilities, and you know what? They're worthy. They're worthy to the political, social, economic causes that we need right now. Someone like Dr. William H. Cosby Jr., EDD, Bill Cosby, I don't know if he can bring him back to where he was. I really don't. To lose 2 children, I mean, that's just... it's unfathomable for me. I think those that are higher up than Cosby in life are probably thinking to themselves, you know what? It's best that he dies. Best that we euthanize him, kill him off, have him join Ennis and Enza up there in the heavens. And then we will shape his legacy the way we see fit. Much like they did to Michael Jackson after he died, and Prince after he died, and Whitney Houston after she died, and Muhammad Ali after he died, and a lot of other black celebrities after they died, including Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., among so many others. And this is something that the white people tend to do, because they will co-opt the matters of a person, of an African American, but they won't really fully embrace the dichotomies of these people until they're dead. Why? Inherent racism is one reason. There are other reasons too, but racism is one of them. So I think, I personally think this is where things are going. I really hope it's not the case, but you know what? I can't see it other way. Those issues regarding, and what many aren't talking about, regarding Ennis, Enza, regarding LGBTQ relationships, they answer everything, in my opinion, regarding, well, not everything, but mostly everything regarding all the Cosby stuff that's been going on. And we never really had that discussion on it. So at some point, this will get uploaded. These two videos will get uploaded, and we'll be able to talk about this at a certain level. And I'd like to hear some feedback. From whom? I don't know. Just not really anybody that's trolling necessarily. But I would like to hear some feedback and like people to understand where things are at and where things are coming from. If we could do that, that'd be good. So that's how I feel, and I just really wanted to get it off my chest. And I figured now with Pride Month, this may be the best time to explain these issues. So hope you enjoyed or didn't. It doesn't matter to me. I will hope to talk to you soon, and hopefully do some better stuff with this video recording. Okay, have a good night, everybody. Bye bye.